For today's learning work, we're going to look at how the United States went from a thriving, booming economy where people had opportunities to buy stuff on credit and experience a bunch of new types of entertainment to one that is pretty depressing and pretty terrible for a lot of people. And to really understand how that happened and how our economy crashed, what you're going to do today is you're going to do a little bit of reading and then answer a couple of questions for it. The reading section 24 looks like this, and you guys can see some images of the way that they dressed back then. So you're going to read this section, and then as you are reading it, please make sure you're paying careful attention to the graphics and the things that it talks about in those graphics as well. They give you some really important details, how life changed for people here. This is an example of a Hooverville that we'll talk about a little bit more in depth later. Okay, so yep, it's a little bit of a lengthy reading section, okay? And as you're reading, you're going to answer these questions. You're going to start off by thinking about how banks were hurt by the stock market collapse, and you have to think about how banks were involved in the stock market to answer this question. And then over here, you're going to list all of the causes that you find out of the Great Depression. So what made it happen? And then over here, you're going to put effects of the Great Depression. So that this is what happens as a result of, okay? And then you're going to describe what Hoovervilles were, and then what living conditions were like in Hoovervilles, what the current president, President Hoover, tried to do to fix the economy, and whether he was successful or not. And then have a little bit of a reflection about, has the stock market crashed since 1929? And if it did or would again, is it going to have the same effect as it did in 1929? So this is a little bit of a thinking question, but also carefully reading to see why the crash affected people the way it did then, and would that still be possible today? So that's your learning work to complete before class on Tuesday.